Yeah, so today, welcome back to Kickin' It with Sneaker Steve. We have special guest John Geiger here today with us from John Geiger Co. and also from Diet Starts Monday. It's a very special show because it's not only talking about entrepreneurism in the sneaker market, but then also somebody who's been a part of like amazing collaborations that have worked with some of the big projects on customizing footwear that have been some of the most exciting collabs that I've seen in terms of product ideas. And also, I also believe a big part of what's hitting the sneaker trends now a couple years ago. So it's really an honor to have John Geiger, and let's just get into it. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right off of Basel.
Appreciate the intro. That was a good intro.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Of course, and as we do the double leg move, here we go. Yeah. we'll get right into it.
All right.
So, one, thank you for being on the show.
I appreciate you having me.
A big part, like I was telling you earlier, about what's special about Kicking It with Sneaker Steve is that I've been able to meet all these incredible people in my 20 plus years in the sneaker industry. And Dee and Andres introduced me to you. We were at the Pogie dinner together. I know you're friends with Javier as well, and you've been a friend of Andrew Dome for many years. So it's just great, but we've never got to like really meet each other and get to sit down and kick it. So now we get to do it in front of millions of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Like where did it all start from? Where were you raised?
I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's kind of like a staple now where the Pittsburgh Pirates at. I grew up there in the city. It was like Bloomfield, Lawrenceville. My family, it was me, my sister, my dad, and my mom. We weren't like the wealthiest family, but we got by and stuff like that. But sneakers had always played a part in my life. My dad had always put me on the Jordans when I was younger. I was a big Matt Geiger fan, so I don't even know what shoes he was wearing at that time, but I was a Penny Hardaway fan, stuff like that, Rodman, those type of guys. So sneakers were always like in my life at a young age, and I think that's what started it.
Got it.
Started everything for me, at least.
And then, so that's the first time like it excited you, sneakers, at that time frame?
Yeah, I would ride a bike to it was a local store called David's. It was in East Liberty. And at that time, East Liberty was like kind of like a bad neighborhood, but my mom would give me the money, and I would ride a bike all the way to East Liberty and get the shoes.
To get the sneakers there?
Yeah. I was a big Air Force One guy, obviously, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, what year was that?
93, 92,
okay.
94, 91.
And you were in what, like junior high?
No,
or?
I was in, that was like 5th grade.
5th grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is
96, I was in 5th grade, so.
Wow. The reason I ask is because I like to put in context, like, a big part of being a sneakerhead or just being in the sneaker industry, just being a kid, really. Like the sneakers you had at a certain time in either high school or junior high kind of mold you. It's your first experience of like wanting a certain shoe or like having your own personal style.
I mean, that's when you would get the Jordans, or at that time Penny was huge. So that's when you would get the Penny Hardaways and you'd wear them, play basketball in them. It wasn't for fashion. So
totally.
I would get shoes and I would wear them like that day or to practice to the game the next time. So that's what it was for me.
Yeah, like it's funny you say it because I grew up playing basketball in Left Rack Projects in Queens and Elmhurst. And I would be like in an all New Balance suit with like Reebok pumps or Robinson 180s and be fly to hell, but I would actually ball in them.
Yeah.
Like you would actually play in them. It wasn't like stylized, but you would look fresh going to the gym or going to, we played for like a lot of churches, so like St. Mary's or, a lot of the CEA teams there.
Got you.
It's funny because at that age, I was already graduating high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I started working in my first sneaker store in 1994, 95, when the Air Max 95 came out.
Wow.
So I was already looking at like the Nike catalogs of like the Dan and Dave, the Air Max 95 or the Air Max 97, the Air Max, all of those shoes that were coming out for the first time in the Nike catalogs, we were buying them for the sneaker store.
And I was in Slam Magazine looking at like, what is the last page, and they had like all the shoes. And they had like a 7 next to it, and you would look down at the bottom like when it was coming out. So, yeah.
How crazy is that? I mean, just for all the listeners out there, what John's talking about is the way that we would find information for sneaker drops was you would have to wait for the Slam magazine to come out. I didn't even care about the magazine. I would just go to the back page.
Yeah, it was like the second to last page.
Yeah.
If it was like Christmas time, they would have like a wreath when all the like the shoes. And then you would know what was coming out, the dates and stuff like that.
And literally, that was the release date. That's how we got the information.
Or the East Bay, one or the other,
Totally.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then, so you said you were like a Air Force guy growing up, of course. Now, how was it like? How was it in terms of like competition in school for sneakers and fashion? Because I've always told the story, like my story, like sneakers for me growing up in high school or junior high was a battle.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was going to war. I was like battling kids on like what I had on. That was just the upbringing in terms of New York City. Was it the same in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. I mean, I was big in Air Force Ones, but I was big in Air Force Ones mainly because at that time we couldn't afford Jordans. So that's when like the price started going up. So I could get 2 pairs of Air Force Ones for getting a pair of Jordans.
Sick. Okay.
So I would get like all whites or something like that, and I would go to like a local guy who was like working on shoes, and he was was always like work shoes or like loafers or something. And I would go in there and be like, hey, can I put this Army fatigue like on the swoosh, or can I take my mom's handbag and put this on the swoosh? And he.
Oh, so you were thinking about that back then?
Yeah, I was getting them done then.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
in the 90s.
Yeah, it was going
wow.
into 2000. Yeah, it was like maybe early 2000s. Maybe you'll say that.
Is that before any of like the Gucci customized check and the
It was
Louis?
probably around the same time.
Right. Okay, got it.
But I was in Pittsburgh. Like, no one knew anything about that. So if I wasn't writing on them or just like. I remember in '99 my uncle had passed. I remember like writing on my shoes, like that stuff. So I played basketball right on it. Yeah, but I would take him to a local guy there in Lawrenceville. I was trying to think of his name. My mom could tell the story better, but I would go to him, give the shoes, and I would take like Army fatigue jacket, and I'd be like, can you put it on here, put it on the swoosh, put it on the front toe box, and he would do it, yeah.
And was that just for you, or were you trying to sell them back then?
I would just do it just for me. Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
The first time I saw that, outside of Canal Street, in Chinatown.
Yeah.
But the guy that was doing it, I don't know if you know a guy. His name was Hughie, and he then later started. He was working with Greedy Genius.
Gotcha.
With Mikael.
Yeah.
And he had a clothing line named Hugh. He was the buyer for Fred Siegel.
Gotcha.
In Santa Monica, and he would customize all of these Gucci Air Forces and sell them at Fred Siegel and sell them like a lot of those stores out here. That was the first time I really saw that. I only saw them at Union and Fred Siegel back there. This is like early 2000s.
Wow. Yeah.
So you would that was just your personal.
Yeah, that was just my personal pairs.
Oh wow.
Yep. Yeah, it was a good time.
And then what happened after that? Like then you got into high school, of course.
Yeah, when I was in high school. I mean, I started getting more into. I was just always Air Force Ones. It was mids, highs. That's when like Remix the Kicks. I was in Pittsburgh, so Philadelphia wasn't that far.
Okay.
So I remember like the Remix the Kicks were like the first colorway that came out that wasn't a custom that like Nike actually put out with the store.
Which one?
They were like they were called Remix the Kicks, Air Force One lows. They were like red, white, and blue.
Okay.
And they actually had like the tag that said Remix the Kicks. It was
I remember
like,
the red, white, and blue.
It was like their blog that made that shoe.
Yeah.
And that's when like the whole Dipset thing came out, and then everybody started customizing everything.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So,
would you go to Ubik in Philly?
Only time I would go to Philly, I remember going there, but I remember being like Mitchell Ness, and I would hit like South Street, and then I would get all the Air Force Ones on South Street where their store was there.
Yeah. Did you know Big Rube?
No.
Big Rube was like really big guy. He was kind of like the face of Mitchell and Ness.
Oh, for real?
During that time, yeah. It was a marketing guy there, but he like...
Man, I would get the Mitchell and Ness jerseys to get back to Pittsburgh, and that's right when they started like making the fakes.
Yeah.
And I would get back, and this kid in school would like have the same jersey. I'm like, my mom just paid all this money for this jersey, and this kid got the same one.
Yeah.
And I found out it ended up being like fakes eventually. That's when fakes started. Yeah.
Wow.
Fat was a big influence in my life at that time, especially with jerseys.
Oh my God, yeah.
Pretty sure he was an influence on everybody at that time.
Yeah. It's like seeing Fab, them doing what they were doing was just like, I mean, it was a throwback and a fitted. It was like just, it's dope. It's dope for me to like hear the parallels between like kids in Philly versus like kids in, or Pittsburgh really, versus like kids in New York.
Yeah.
So then after like high school, did you go to college or like what?
I had gone to school Clarion. I went there for like a year. Funny story about Clarion. I was only there for a year though. I played basketball, but I loved driving back and forth from Pittsburgh to Clarion because there was a Nike outlet.
Okay.
I used to always go there. I was there for a year, transferred to another school in Pittsburgh. It was like a CCAC. It was like a transfer school basically.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going to Point Park, which I graduated there, criminal justice degree, which a lot of people don't know.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Criminal justice degree that I'm obviously never going to use, maybe one day in my life. But yeah, criminal justice degree, and graduated from Point Park, 2010. 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then back then, were you still like into sneakers heavy?
Yeah.
And like,
I would go to these classes, and it was like law class, so a lot of people would dress up and try to impress, the professors. And I remember always wearing sneakers, and two professors in particular, but they would always say like, you got to stop wearing sneakers and stop dressing this way, because eventually you're gonna be wearing suits every day. Now it just wouldn't resonate.
Yeah,
like,
go over your head.
Yeah, I would just be like, I didn't know like this was gonna be my, making a living off of it, but yeah, at that time I was just like, I don't know, it's pretty wild. Yeah.
So it was in you.
Yeah,
Like that's your passion.
Yeah. Hate the use the word culture, but that's, you were part of that at the time.
Yeah, no, of course you were. Yeah, you were influenced definitely by the culture, sure. And then, so then after college, what did you do after that? Like, how did that go?
Directly after college, I had a friend that played football, which was Darrell Revis, and he was basically saying like, do you want to come to New York? He had a couple people working for him at the time, and they were taking care of his endorsements. His agent was just his agent, and he had a couple people taking care of his endorsements. He was like, why don't you take this over? And then I had moved to New York, literally drove a car that was full of shoes and clothes, moved to New York, and we lived in New Jersey. And then
and who was he playing for?
He was playing for the Jets.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. And I took over his endorsements, which was Motorola, Google, Range Rover, and Nike.
Okay.
And then just by going to all the Nike meetings, which led into the Zoom Revis, I got a hand in it, and then that's what kind of like really learning that whole process is what made me like really get into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your feeling like first time going to like Beaverton to like Nike campus?
Oh yeah, I mean at that time that's when Ken Link and Trent Casper was with Nike football. I got to see things that obviously you would see online, but you never got to like see in your hand.
Yeah.
Got to go in the kitchen a couple times, stuff like that. And it was just, that's when like I really fell in love with like the process of the shoes getting made. Yeah. Instead of just like what they look like after.
Did you ever think of possibly maybe working for Nike as a designer, or like saying like, let me flip to let me work here, like let me make this full time?
I feel like there's what Nike's doing now, especially with like collaborators, I don't think they would hire those people, because the designers they have now went to school for that. Yeah. It's not like I went to school for that, I learned on my own. So I think that we could collab eventually, but I don't know, but I never thought I'll get a job there.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe I don't think I was qualified or something like that, but.
Yeah, because you were coming from like a different background, okay, got it. Yeah. So then, how did that go? Like, were you working with like a professional NFL player, or do you do that still that now?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So like, take me through that time or like that transition.
I got to work on the Zoom Revis.
How many years ago was that?
That was in 2012.
Okay, got it. All right.
Got to work on the Zoom Revis and got to work with like Ken Link and Trent Casper. And I ended up getting like royalty checks for that shoe. So that was like my first like intro into that world. Yeah. And then just by my relationships and social media, Nike would ask me to come out there some other times and show me some stuff. I would give input and stuff like that. And that was always on Air Force One stuff after that.
Okay, dope.
Yeah. And then it's just, there's a point where like you're gonna give so many ideas or try to give input, and they're just not gonna listen to you, and then you're just like, I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah. And that's when the whole misplaced check thing came in.
Got it. Yeah. I learned that. I learned that at like 26, 27 years old, when somebody told me, I graduated from NYU, and at that time Quicksilver had bought DC shoes, and I was consulting them. They asked me to come in to consult for the senior vice president, do a presentation in front of all the executives, and I didn't know what to charge. Because at that time when you're young, you really don't know. Like you're more stoked about doing it versus like, oh wow, I have a certain value. I'm part of the culture, and what my ideas are, we're going to make this company a lot of money. Yeah. And I was lucky to call someone, Elena Romero, and she really set the precedent for me. And she was like, she actually cursed the shit out of me. Yeah. Because I told her what I was going to charge and like what I thought, and she was like, look, Steve, you better fucking charge this. This is what your value is. This is what you're doing. What you're going to make the millions of dollars and like all this stuff. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. Like, all right, I'll charge this. I'll do this, and it literally changed my life. Because that allowed me to set a precedent, and having somebody teach me understanding my value. She was the first and youngest editor of DNR,
Gotcha.
which is what like Men's Wear Daily is and all that kind of those kind
Yeah.
of publications. So she was a really big deal in terms of publishing. And now that is something where like it literally has put me to today, to where
Yeah.
I'm at.
Got you.
So I could respect that.
Yeah.
Like, is that something that like that concept of the misplaced checks, is that something that you gave to Nike first, or was like?
Oh yeah. It was right when basically I was allowed to go on Nike ID or work with that group of people.
Yeah.
And tell them like things that I want to do for Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
And I would give them like colorways and stuff like that. So at that time I would bang out like, 10 days Air Force Ones, and that's when I started getting a following.
Yeah.
But I would also give them like changing the shoe instead of just like colorways. And
So you were giving them design input.
yeah.
Yeah, like not just colors or like
Yeah, so the misplaced checks, I remember that was something I gave them, or I thought I gave them, through text or through, whatever. Like, hey, I think this is a cool idea. I think it's a cool idea, and they were just like, I don't think this is gonna work. We wouldn't reposition a swoosh that many times on the shoe and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, so just figured out another way to go do it myself.
Wow, that's crazy, brother. Congrats on that, man. Because like, to see like Travis's shoe now, and to see everything that's out right now, to me, which is definitely inspired by that, like, whether it was direct inspired or not, but it's the evolution of letting the brand go in terms of doing what the customer wants, not what the brand wants.
It's crazy because everything that Nike's doing right now, even with Travis's shoe and then the classes they're having and stuff like that, I get every day someone adding me on their pictures or saying like these people copied off you. And I had talked to Don C the other day about it. Hopefully he doesn't get mad about talking about the story, but he brought up a great point to me, and that really like resonated with me. That was good.
Yeah.
He had said that although it might look like these people are copying, you got to understand these are consumers.
Yeah.
And the regular consumer gets a room full of swooshes and stuff with an Air Force One, and this is the first time creating something from scratch. So they're always going to look towards something they liked or something they wanted to have, and they're going to make something that looks like that. And I really was like, thanks, because I never really got mad about it. Yeah. The only thing I ever was mad about was that Nike didn't include me in the Air Force One things.
Yeah.
I felt like I deserved that, and I felt like I should have been a part of that. Yeah. Not to say it will never happen, because I definitely would do it, but he brought a good point and was like, these are consumers, and these people commenting are just these are consumers, so this is the first time they get to create something, so it's going to look the same.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, thank you, because I kind of needed that. Yeah.
You needed that, yeah. I could imagine. Like, I think we just need a little bit of water too.
Cool.
We got props coming in here, flying in,
These guys got their own water.
Yeah.
Sneaker Ink water makes you jump higher, run faster.
Oh man, love it. But that's like, to me, there's I don't know if you know, but Ye wrote a book. Mm-hmm. He has this little small book of quotes. And when I was living in China, I had it by my mantle, and I would read it, and one of the quotes said, it says, get used to getting used. Mm-hmm. If you're not getting used, you're useless. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy
It's a pretty good one. Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's, like I said, that's the thing with the whole social media. And even, I still do it to this day. I have no problem admitting it. If someone that is doing something and they do something similar and someone writes my name under and says, I've seen this before, I'll DM that person and be like, listen, I don't feel that way. These people are saying this.
Well,
because I just, how social media is like so fucked up these days, honestly. I might write someone to your picture and you see the name and you might just automatically think like, oh, he might know this person or whatever the case may be. I'll contact that person and be like, I don't feel this way. This is what these people are thinking. And recently with the whole Travis Scott thing and then with the whole classes, it was just nonstop. And I finally had to but talking to Don about it was like, that really helped.
Yeah.
And I never looked at it from that perspective. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that helped. That was cool. But Nike, let's get something going here.
Yeah, let's get some checks. Yeah, I mean,
it only makes sense at this point, but I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? Like that to Ye's quote, concepts, ideas are getting used.
Yeah.
and now they're coming about and recycled, and I think it's even better for you because now it brings you even. I think it's even more of a compliment.
Yeah.
Because if it's like, oh wow, that was John Geiger's idea, it's even bigger. Yeah. It's like this big, massive corporate company had to use your idea to win.
And it's crazy, 'cause, I mean, the Misplaced Checks were, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but it might have been one of the biggest Air Force One releases. Actually wasn't a Nike release. Because, I mean, it's somewhere in the world I know we've made.
Yeah.
There's a good 3,000 pairs in all the different colorways out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So that many pairs of shoes sold at that price.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. So, yeah.
I agree, man. Congrats to that. Like,
I appreciate it.
And I believe that it goes back to the consumer, right? So Trinidad James was on the show a couple episodes ago, and he was like, yo, it's real simple. 1 + 1 is 2. So you made a hot shoe that customers wanted, it won.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm Nike, I don't want to move the check.
Yeah.
I want to stay, because the customer's not thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and like even when I'm designing shoes, sometimes I'm not even looking at brands. I'm looking at customizers, because customizers are really what the consumer wants, which the brand won't put out.
Yep.
So that's the core essence of what the customer wants.
Yeah. I mean, and then after that, you know, I did the mids, did a bunch of other releases, obviously Air Force One stuff.
Yeah.
But that just led me into just wanting to do my own shoe, because I felt like it was just at a wall, and there's nothing wrong with being a customizer.
Yeah.
But I felt like I hit that wall where like I didn't want to be called that. I felt like I was more than that. So when I would get put on these lists and it would say like John Geiger customizer, it just irked me.
You're like, you're like, I'm more than that. I'm a designer. I'm a creator.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
like, don't put me in that box.
yeah. So that like really irked me, and then I really just wanted to just do my own shoe, and I felt like that was gonna separate me from anybody customizing shoes, painting, stitching, whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
And having my own shoes. So I think that's what really like pushed me to do it.
You know what I just thought about right now, and you saying that lineage of that story, right? Look at Ye's, or what Kanye did with Nike, right? Didn't go the way he wanted it, and look what it turned out into Adidas.
Man.
So hey, the essence of energy and creativity, it will go where it needs to go. So one door closes.
It's crazy because
who knows how many open up.
Was the whole customizing Air Force Ones. I had like so many more ideas, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit on them because I'm not gonna keep doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's no point in me keeping doing it, and I was like, I'll do it eventually, you know, if I ever collab with anything.
You see, that's the beauty of it, you know, and like that's why I'm so glad that we get to meet and kick it, because like I love talking to entrepreneurs, designers, people that are winning, because like we were talking about earlier, like how many independent designers are there? It's
I mean, that
really difficult to own a shoe company.
That was crazy what you said, because I said that there's only so many people doing it, and you said how many do you think?
It's a handful of
independent footwear brands.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
You name it. They're literally, it's like on your hand. You can count how many that are in business, that are surviving.
Yeah.
You know, and like you think about it, like who's actually doing business. You know what I mean? Like, so there's different definitions of what's business. You know. So all right, cool. So this is exciting. This is getting good. All right, so you did the Nike collab. That happened. We already know where that went. So what was next? So like, what was the evolution of it?
Right when I was on like my third colorway of the Misplaced Checks, I think it had gone like the original ones, then we did like a black one. That's when I started like, you know, following and people being like, oh, this dude actually doing cool stuff. I started working on my own shoe. But I got a call from my partner now, Sean Davis. He's an NBA agent. He has like Iman Shumpert, Mo Harkless, those guys. And he was just like, well, have you ever thought about just doing your own shoe? I was like, shit, like I know how it gets made, but I don't even know where to start. Yeah. And from that day on, we just started. I drew up some stuff that I thought was gonna be cool. Yeah. And if you think about 2 years ago and now where I'm at now, it's pretty wild, but then I feel like this is where everything's about to go. This is what I felt about my shoe. I felt that I wore Jordans that everybody were getting. Yeah. And I felt like the price was going up, which they have over the past 2 years. Yeah, a lot, yeah. And then I was wearing like Margielas where my feet would hurt, but I was paying like $900 for. Yeah. So if I felt like if I could bring both of those worlds together. Totally. And I could get to this new wave before anybody gets there, that I can make a killing. The only thing is sometimes being first isn't, like you said, you get copies. So sometimes being first isn't always the best thing.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that. But I felt like if I could bring those worlds together with like high-end materials that still look like a sneaker,
Yeah.
I would do very well. And that's where we're at now.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, so the 001 model was basically like taking like super high-end materials and, you know, Italy quality and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but still look like you can wear them with jeans like a Jordan.
Yeah.
And I felt like if you brought those both worlds together, that's what it's gonna do. And that's why on the box it says medium, because that's the middle point.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So there's inside the box is the word medium and the definition of it.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Okay. There was actually a footwear company named Medium.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that was they were
wild.
incredible designers too. They were
Yeah.
like really, really sick.
Yeah. So that was like my whole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Because
Thank you.
that's like, you know, to do your own shoe. I know clearly what it takes.
Yeah.
To do that, it's a lot more than what people think.
Yeah.
And I think about, you know, like sometimes we'll get comments. We're talking about like comments on Instagram or on social media. People were like, "Oh, that shoe sucks," or "This shoe is this shoe is that." You're talking about like some of your hypebeast comments, and we always say, like, even when I used to talk to Hav a lot, we're like, these kids have no idea
Yeah, zero.
of what it takes
Yeah.
to make your own shoe, your own
Like
outsole, your own last. Like,
there's no way that someone could watch a video and a kid can come up to me in LA, like yesterday this happened. A kid came up to me and was like, "You show the process of things getting made, and I don't see any other designers doing it, and this really draw me to you." And he was like, "You really made me like put a pencil to a paper and start like thinking of new ideas to come up with something."
oh wow, that's dope.
And then you have the complete opposite where some guy online is gonna be like, "These shoes suck." Like, I'd rather you say like, "I think the tooling is not right," or "I think you should put these laces with this," not just "these shoes suck."
Yeah.
Because I'm not even, your level of like knowledge is fucking below zero.
Yeah, below, way below
yeah,
zero.
So I have no energy to even explain anything to you.
Yeah.
And then my product is not for you.
Exactly.
So my product is for the kids that actually get it and want to know more about it.
Got it. Like,
Yeah.
so what do you think you've been able to like learn in terms of the manufacturing process, or like what do you, is that something that did you like, you enjoy? Is that, you know?
I mean, just like, you know, the knowledge that you have right now for being in the business for that many years
Yeah.
is way more, the knowledge that I learned over the past 2 years is way more than any dollar amount that I could get from selling shoes, right? Because that knowledge is always going to last. The brand might not last, whatever's going to happen in my future,
Yeah.
but the knowledge is never always going to last.
Yeah.
And that was like my biggest thing, like literally learning everything. That's what I told you before. Even though I failed in some parts and I learned it and changed some things,
Yeah.
it was like I needed that happen. And then like the learning process in the past 2 years have been crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's only up from here. I feel like it's just the beginning. So yeah, like you said, the whole production phase and even before that, even like just starting it, the steps of it that I learned was just like pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
It's had a flashback to me like yelling at people.
oh man, we've been through it all. You know, like from with Andrew Dome, like between manufacturing in China, living in China, manufacturing in Portugal, manufacturing in Italy, manufacturing in multiple factories around the world. Like the scale that you learn is just incredible. Like the processes, and what I love so much about the sneaker manufacturing process is that, to me, it's that is just one part of it. Then there's, of course, the financing of it. Then there's the marketing of it. Then there's the design aspect of it. Then there's material coloration. Then there's the logistics side. Then there's the legal side. Then there's the operation side. So when me thinking now, even of like when somebody was like, "Yeah, it's just whack," like you have no idea
you have no fucking idea.
what, you know, most people can't even comprehend what it takes to make a shoe.
Yeah.
And I believe that story is not told enough.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you put a lot of that into the manufacturing process, like educating the consumer of like what it actually takes, like how many components, how many pieces it takes to make a shoe.
Yeah. The 001 is actually, you know a lot about it. So these are actually 36 pieces.
Okay.
So the process for one pair, we just got it down, but in the first production was almost 4 hours.
Wow.
And it was just like, it should not take this long to make the shoe. And they were like, this is why. And then my whole thing was like, if someone's about to pay $5.95, they should see how it gets made.
Yeah.
And the other thing about having production in the US, for me, is a blessing because one, I get to go there whenever I want.
Yeah.
And two, I get to film whatever I want.
Yeah.
And to the consumer, I would understand the brand more and understand the vision more if I got to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm in there. So it's not like I'm just having people go shoot it. I'm actually in there like, I think this is wrong. The stitching is bad. Let's put this over here.
Sure.
Blah, blah, blah. And even with the boxes, you know, I'm in there like, this one's messed up. We got to send that one back or put this to the left. And I think people like relate to that more. And that's why the following has gone up.
Yeah.
If I was just posting stuff and never showing how it got made or never showing the process, I don't think that people would like resonate to the brand more and resonate to like me more at that time. So that's been great having in the US.
Yeah. The ability to document, I believe, is, like you said, is going to justify, you know, because what you're selling is a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like you're not selling a Prius type sneaker.
Yep.
So people want to know why. Why am I spending $5.95? So I think that the more content that you put out around that, and even the conversations that you have, like you on the show, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
The more that people get to know you and like find out about the brand and how it's made, like the fact that it is 36 pieces, that it's made here in America, in the States, made in LA, like that's special.
Yeah.
And the fact that you, as the founder of the company, are going to check out and making sure critically, like I approve that or not approve that. That is a more of a boutique couture style mindset in terms of like making sure that shoe is perfection.
Yeah.
And that's why it warrants the price.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with that. What my big rant right now to the market is that I'm not okay with a $8 to $12 FOB shoe that's made, that is then sold for $60, $80, $100, and then it's resold for $300, $400, $500, and customers wearing a $8 shoe.
Yeah.
Like, and
mine's actually
paying $500.
Underpriced. Yeah.
Yeah, you actually should be even more.
Yeah, there should be more. They're underpriced, but I felt like that was the way that I wanted to go.
So you're hearing that, everybody out there?
Yeah.
Stop complaining. They're actually cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting a great price. You're getting a great deal.
Yeah. And then like the whole production thing too is, I had told John this story too, but you know, I was fortunate enough that my first release was on Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And
was that at H. Lorenzo?
No, it was at Market across the street.
At Market across the street, yeah, dope.
I just have a better relationship with them.
Yeah, nice.
But not too many people can say they launched a footwear line and then they released it on Sunset Boulevard. But the boxes of the shoes weren't even in LA until like the day before. Yeah, so they were stuck at customs, and it was just one of those things. Like I look back now and I could laugh, but that day I'm like, holy shit.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like the warehouse is like, you have your shoes just sitting on they're like wrapped in plastic. Like there's no boxes. So I remember like that day I was in there taking the boxes out, putting the size sticker on, and doing it myself because it had to get it done.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many, and for the audience out there, like there's so many war stories like that people don't even understand. Like I remember a similar story to us. Like we were at the factory in Italy, and there literally wasn't boxes. So they're like, your shoes are sitting with paper outside, and we can't produce them because we can't leave them because we don't know what sizes they are. They'll get completely, it'll just be a mess for production. So production had to stop because there's no boxes.
Yeah.
And literally, like, we're there trying to race to get them out FedEx overseas from Italy to get to Saks Fifth Avenue before like orders just, you know, get canceled.
Yeah.
And the amount of money that's liable there is just immense.
Make or break a brand. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And then to get a comment like, yo, these suck.
Yeah.
Like,
If that's what you came up with? These suck?
Oh my God. It's funny because Drama on his podcast, he talks about the same thing too. It's like, if the level of the comment is sub-zero, no response.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, how do I start a brand?
Yeah.
No response. Like,
That's when you get the email like, where the fuck's my shoes at?
Yeah.
They don't respond to you.
I can talk about that. Can you talk about that a little bit or no? Or keep it out?
I keep that out.
Keep it out, right.
Because it's not mine, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Don't even bring more people to talk about that.
My shipping's A1. Okay. They're done, they go out. You know?
5-star review. Yeah. You get the 5-star A1. All right, so now all of a sudden, you release the shoes on Sunset at Market. I love that store too. I met the owner at Ruji's house the other day.
And they have a store in Miami too, in Design District.
Yeah, he told me.
Yep.
He told me, but he's like originally from New York.
Yep.
Yeah, I peeped that. And my family, I lived 1 year in Miami.
Okay.
So I literally, my family's Colombian. Okay. So like all my family's in Miami, and I went to school there I think it was Hollywood. It's funny that it's Hollywood or like North Miami Springs, something
Hollywood,
like that.
Yeah.
And for you to launch on Sunset, a market, that's incredible. You know, with the brands that are launching there. So what happened after that?
It did very well. We did online the next day.
Okay. Was that which colorway was that?
That was the black and white suede. And then I really just.
Is it similar to this shoe? But this is a pebble green, right?
Yeah, it's pebble.
You got some heat.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, it's the leather ones. They were suede. Yeah. They were all black, white.
The all black suede, but similar color blocking.
Yeah. No, they were all black.
Oh, just
the
all
upper
black
was all
suede.
Black. Yep.
Actually, I love that you put the air bubble in there too.
Yeah, I mean that was my whole. We thought that we were gonna get in trouble or sued or whatever, but we actually got around it and we were fine.
Yeah, because I believe even when I was at DC Shoes, Nike only had, I think, the rights or the patent to it to like a certain year, and then after that it was free. Yeah. It was open market. So we used to do a lot of shoes with air in them. These are beautiful too, man.
Appreciate it.
I love them. Factory, please get the production ready so that friends and family can wear and enjoy some John Geiger shoes. Thank you. Yeah. Factory, please. Oh, these are beautiful, man.
Appreciate it.
There you go.
A little dirty, wore them yesterday.
So now, like in terms of where you're at now, like after that shoe release, what would happen after, or like where is that going?
Then I really just started planning releases for the year.
Okay.
I'm not really on fashion schedule.
Perfect.
I'm not really not on like I'm not gonna have to get on it if I go into retailers, which we talked about, but it's really just, my whole thing was I wanted to release colorways and timing when I was ready.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be on a fashion schedule to where it was fall, winter, spring, summer. Even though sometimes I might put colorways out in spring that are spring inspired. Yeah. I wanted it to really be, this is a colorway that I want to release and that I would wear at the time that I want it. And it has worked. So
got it.
I'm not gonna change anything unless, like I said, unless retailer want it.
Yeah.
But I think that was the biggest thing with having my own brand and having my name attached to it, as big as it is. My name attached to it is the name, but I think that was big for me. It was just like doing it my way, when I want, how I want, and I thought that was gonna be big.
Smart. Yeah. I mean, that's where all the information, all the data, that's where the market's going, that's where the industry's going, so I'm glad that you did it that way. You have the control, similar to like Kith. Just they own their retail, they own their outlet, they ship, they make, they push, they drop whenever they release, and also helps you in terms of the product that you're able to make, because you're not based on a wholesale older business model. So are you able to talk about some of the retailers that you're thinking about launching with?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, that's cool too.
Number one, I don't want to jinx it. Number two, it's not like completely done.
All right, so let's keep it. I love it like that. Just keep it. Let the viewers keep waiting, and just know it's big. Yeah. So I'm proud of you, bro. That's a huge accomplishment, huge talk. So
thank you.
And now, so like we do a couple segments in the show, which is what is your current rotation? So meaning like. So, top 3, you're traveling, like tomorrow you just came from Basel, you're in LA now, you're going back to Miami, but like if you're traveling, what's your current 3 rotation right now?
I'm a big preacher to anybody at this point that you're a walking billboard.
Okay.
And I always say, you know, you drive down the street, people pay for those billboards.
Yeah.
Your social media, and when you're walking around, you're a walking billboard.
Yeah.
So 98% of the time I'm in my own shoes, and my rotation is whatever I'm working on at that moment. Like right now it's the red and the black and white.
Yeah.
But then when I travel, it's either like sandals or like off-white, the Vapor Max. I think I have those in rotation. So maybe like Nike running shoes if I work out.
Yep.
But other than that, it's usually 100% what I got going on.
Okay, nice, amazing.
Yeah.
And then, so like, and now when we were at the office with D and Andres, you're telling me about Diet Starts Monday. I know you just did a run, right? For during Art Basel.
Hangover run.
Everyone was worried, like Friday, 10 a.m., who's gonna do a 5K?
I don't know if you've seen the videos, but I was on a bike.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I ran maybe like a quarter of a mile, then went and got the city bike and then caught up to them.
I haven't seen that. No. So tell me a little bit about Diet Starts Monday with 5-4.
Diet Starts Monday, the
and
brand.
It's with Brand AC.
Yeah. So Diet Starts Monday, the brand started last year in January. I worked on shoes for 2 years and I wanted to put out clothing.
Okay.
My partner Davin, who owns Premium Co, I was like, I want to make clothes. And he was like, all right, what do you want to call it? And I was like, Diet Starts Monday. And it was based off procrastination of, I'll start it Monday.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was homework, working out, whatever, I'll do it Monday.
Yeah.
So the brand's called Diet Starts Monday. We showed a private collection in Vegas last January. And we were going to go into retailers. And then it just, out of nowhere, our third partner, Scooty, who lives in DC, was like, hey, do you want to do a pop-up in DC? This space is going to give you a space for 3 months for a low rent.
Yeah.
We were like, cool, let's do like a restaurant, bar, and retail. And we opened in May, and it's still open to this day. So,
wow.
Yeah, so the place in DC is called Diet Starts Monday. It's like right in the heart, 14th Street. And it's still there. We're open Thursday to Sunday.
Amazing.
And we have Chef Redbeard does the food. We have retail, does the clothes, a bar. And then just so happened that over the course of the past year, a lot of people that would come to me for collabs, if it didn't work out for the shoe brand, I was like, let's do it with Diet.
Yeah.
That led into a meeting with 5-4 and then
dope.
Brand AC.
Yeah.
We just had a Soho House collab. It was in Miami. We have a couple more collabs that are gonna be coming out in the next year for Diet.
Okay.
But it's basically like the clothing side of this. I'm gonna put out clothing with my shoe brand.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get into leather goods. But as far as like complete clothing, it's gonna be Diet Starts Monday.
Got it.
Yeah.
So then, I think this is something I learned
juggling
too.
those two are like,
yeah,
man.
I think something that I learned too is like, even in communication, is so just don't even call it a shoe brand.
Yeah.
It's John Geiger Co.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
you're
it's
right. You're right about that.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, now something that what I look at in terms of like, you know, you and where you're going right now, it's amazing to see. What is something that you would give advice to like young designers that are out there that are doing what you're doing? Like, what would you like to like? What would you tell them? You know, some tidbits of information.
The things that have worked for me were just, one, we talked about like comments and putting stuff out. The problem with the youth now and anybody trying to work on something, they're scared to like put it out.
Yeah.
Most people don't procrastinate and don't put it out.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like, even let's take the Misplaced Checks.
Yeah.
At that time, I was like, I might put this online, and people were like, this is a goofy person. Yeah. And everybody loved it. So my whole thing is like, you gotta put it out there. So whether it's on social media or you take pictures or whatever, just like go for it. Because if you don't even start it, you're always gonna keep looking back. Like, I have friends to this day that will hit me up and be like, I have this idea. Like, well, what is it? T-shirt? I'll help you print it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And they just won't do it. So in a year from now, when you tell me like I want to do this, I'm like, you got to go do it.
Yeah.
So you had that whole year, and you could have had a whole brand launched by now if you just did it that first day. So that's my whole thing, is like pushing people to actually like make product and, you know, develop it. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Man. Well, that's perfect, man. We did it, brother. Thank you so much, man. It's an
Appreciate
honor to
you.
have you on the show and your
Thank
time,
you.
man. I know you're getting back to Miami tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're getting on that red eye, but I'm glad that we got to kick it officially on Kicking It with Sneaker Steve. John Geiger, and we're dropping some real sneaker knowledge, man. Thank you.